Government leaders discuss 20-year vision. Landowners frustrated over delay tactics. And 21 foreigners arrested and charged for breaching laws.
This is National EMTV News with Jeremy Mogi.
Welcome, this is Monday's news. The government's vision to open up the economic corridors of this country can only be realized when these places are linked with proper transport infrastructure. Connect PNG 2020 to 2040 is a policy that will see the government achieve this vision and will be implemented over a 20-year period at a cost of 20 billion kina. A consultative meeting on this policy was held at the APEC House in Port Moresby this morning, attended by the Prime Minister and government officials. Despite the negative economic conditions the country is facing, Prime Minister James Marape urged people to see PNG with optimism, saying everyone should be resilient to build the economy and not deviate from it.
PNG holds a huge potential in different sectors, but this potential remains unlocked due to a lack of infrastructure, particularly roads. The Marape Stephen government has identified the need to build roads to connect what they call the economic corridors. And once these corridors are connected, it can help the country sustain itself during trying economic times.
We stand exposed all the time simply because we are relying on one or two sectors only. And we are now, as a government, in the business of ensuring that we don't face similar predicament going into the future. Our country must diversify our economic base.
Marape says Connect PNG 2020 to 2040 is an ambitious government policy in the right direction to unbundle the great potential in the country. PNG has 462,000 square hectares of land, and the government is set to visit them in the next 20 years through this policy with transport and communication infrastructure.
In the next 20 years, we must visit them with roads, ports, jetties, airports or airstrips, power, and telephone communication or telecommunication. That is the vision we have, and Connect PNG starts that process.
He says this can be achieved if it is developed systematically by investing 1 billion kina every year over the 20-year period and taking one step at a time with an allocation each year. He stressed the importance of government agencies and departments participating in this to implement the policy. He says PNG people are hardworking, and once they're connected, PNG can be transformed.
Today, when we unbundle this one and give a road to them every year for the next 20 years, we will same time convert them into subsistence economy, into formal economy.
He also called on donor partners, financiers and other development partners to subscribe to this program and help connect PNG by 2020.
Australia government, Australian Aid, ADB, World Bank, European Union, Chinese Exim, Indian Exim, and every other development partners who have stood with us all the way, including JICA and New Zealand Aid and others. I respectfully ask for your subscription into our government plan. For our government plan has little about politics, but more to unbundle our country's potential and get our country moving in the right space.
Given the huge potential PNG has in agriculture and tourism, Japan has made its intentions known to buy excess produce from PNG when the foreign minister signed a statement of intent with Prime Minister James Marape in his visit last week. Ruth Rungula, National EMTV News.
Hela Governor Philip Undialu says 1.4 billion kina in royalty and equity is sitting idle in trust accounts waiting to be released. However, in order for it to be released, Undialu says landowners in Hela province must stop their differences and arguments over land ownership and leadership issues. He said this today at the election of the PNG LNG gas pipeline segments 2 and 3 chairman.
From the 1.4 billion kina, 900 million kina is sitting at the Mineral Resources Development Company Limited Trust account, and the rest is with the Central Bank Trust account. 40% of the 1.4 billion kina is landowners' cash entitlements, 30% for infrastructure development, and another 30% for investment to benefit the future generations of Hela province.
Sitting in court, fighting over chairmanship will not help us any longer. The portion 152, the plan side, and other 2 or 3 segments already receiving this, and they're doing worthwhile investments, while my people of Hela sadly sitting for court decisions. We must withdraw court decisions, go back and elect clan leaders, open up trust account, and flow of benefits must be seen.
Tribal fighting, land ownership and leadership issues are the major causes of landowners missing out on royalty and equity payments. It also adds to the breakdown of law and order and lack of government services. MRDC Managing Director Augustine Mane today told the LOs of the PNG LNG gas pipeline to have stability in the areas for payments to be delivered. The people living along the segments 2 and 3 of the 400 kilometers LNG gas pipeline have nominated their chairman and will receive their payment soon.
Environment must something. So now you complete the process outstanding royalty equity stuff.
Danny Simon has been voted in today to represent the segments 2 and 3 in the PNG LNG gas pipeline board.
I'm sitting down, you and then you may walk boom on them, and then you may go forward. Thank you.
Petroleum Resource Gas Pipeline Limited, which is a subsidiary of MRDC. He will sit on the board and make sure that 41 clans properly registered, their accounts are up.
Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
Parliament is expected to resume tomorrow, Tuesday the 25th of August at 2 p.m. It has been much anticipated after the rise in COVID-19 cases being reported nationwide, the closure of the Pogra mine in the Enga province, border security being a national issue of the whole of cocaine, and various land issues that has seen violence in some cases. Court reinstated Vanimo Green MP Belden Nama is back in the opposition, and his constant tirades against the Marape Stephen government is anticipated to continue. Where he sits will be interesting to note. The media is expecting that a number of concerning issues will be discussed, including the NEC approval of PNG as a Christian country. EMTV will be covering the live question time at 2 p.m. tomorrow, while streaming via our Facebook page, EMTV Online. Locals in the PNG LNG project in Hela are calling on the state to release the promised outstanding infrastructure development grants. They say nothing tangible is visible for the resource owners despite gas being exported yearly. Many have expressed disappointment over delayed tactics by responsible state agencies. About 500 million kina in IDG funding is promised to be paid out by the state.
With the state issuing assurance of releasing outstanding IDG funding for the Hela component, there is a massive campaign to fast-track the process so financial benefits are distributed. Locals in Como are anxious when and how that grant will be processed. Many say the IDGs are specifically for community projects.
10 years company operate. Gas we go finish. Money blow me blow away. Service blow me blow away. Look at now. So through you like him this money go out and money belong me blow tarangu line low here, so this money carry come working all service inside long. Here low high area, even Hela too one time so.
About 500 million kina in IDG is outstanding and withheld by the state. Some say there is no issue at hand to stop the payments to established entities created by PDLs according to the UBSA and LBSA signed in 2009. seeing no proper infrastructure built in terms of health, education, among others. People want the money not to be paid to the Hala provincial government. Some are concerned with gross abuse, while others say the provincial government is not part of the UBSA and LBSA signed in Kokopo.
Past time 53 million kolo Hala provincial government implement pani problem no disla. So we have logota papa ground here. Over 6 blocks inside of period 7, mipla like disla money, and must come lo mipla 8. Then disla money, mipla less lo putting call 1 person who said them put him something lo must be.
In the past month, other landowner leaders in Port Moresby have also criticized the state for the release of the outstanding IDGs. However, the ones back at home want a final line drawn between the stakeholders so ordinary people see benefits.
Oh, the leaders from Moresby must come back. Kids Bayabe must come, Andy Hamaka must come, Erigai must come, Live Faridali must come, Lemse Lemabe Mabira must come, Leader Blumba, compromise one the national government, Marabe government, and DP, MRDC, Kumul, now Yubla must come, here open him account, Sabusubla no come, Mibla pass him gate.
While there is some progress on development of roads among the few, the resource owners believe the IDG will play a pivotal role in changing the face of the province. They believe all necessary processes have been exhausted and the state must pay. Threats have been also made if a negative response is forthcoming.
No God, Bambla, Korosim Koma Yapot, Gola Heis, Bambla Statima, Korosima, Condes blend down, Bambla stop him wellhead. Mibro by making motion a big play, you boy come up so. Easy doesn't have any money from Mibro come back, Mibro by finishing this road, now money must come back to company from Mibro yet.
Jack Lapava Jr., National EMTV News.
Now, Papua New Guinea has recorded 3 more COVID-19 cases in the last 48 hours, and this brings the total confirmed cases to 401. The 3 new cases are all from the nation's capital and were detected at the Port Moresby General Hospital, Rita Flynn, and PIH. Of the 3, 2 are women, with 1 a close contact to a positive case who is pregnant and in her 3rd trimester. The other 2 cases, however, presented with fever, cough, headache, and difficulty in breathing at the time of testing. Meanwhile, recoveries stand at 232 and active cases at 162. So far, a total of just over 14,500 tests for COVID-19 have been done, of which 13,500 have tested negative. Meanwhile, the country's death toll remains at 4. This is EMTV National News. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Welcome back. A total of 21 foreigners of Asian origin have been arrested and formally charged for breaching immigration laws. The 21 are mainly Indonesians, Malaysians and Filipinos who were apprehended at 2 separate login sites of Musaforu and Sambogo Ifane in the northern province. Investigations are currently underway to establish the whereabouts of the 16 who fled the Musaforu site last week, although they are believed to be in Port Moresby.
The 21 were arrested and locked up at the Popondetta police cells and later charged for breaching immigration laws. Fraud detectives attached with a special task force investigation team found serious discrepancies in the manner in which work permits and entry visas were obtained. A separate investigation will be conducted into the Department of Labour and Employment, as fraudulent documents from this department were cited during the course of investigation. While the 21 who were arrested and charged are out on bail, they will appear before the Popondetta District Court at a later date. Logging camps around the country have been hot spots for alleged illegal activities, and Immigration Minister Wesley Nukunj has vowed to deal with this when he first took office. He said the country's security is at stake and will get to the bottom of this. Meantime, the 16 who fled the Musaforu logging camp last week are believed to be in Port Moresby, and an investigation in Port Moresby will be carried out to establish the whereabouts of them. It will also look to identify and question the agent involved in facilitating visas and work permits for the Asians. Ruth Rungula, National EMTV News.
The National Court has refused bail for 3 Papua New Guinean men allegedly involved in helping to smuggle cocaine. The three applied for bail last week on the grounds of innocence, police harassment, and family responsibilities.
The National Court gave orders refusing to grant Morgan Mogu, Dominic Telauki and Shane Dikana bail based on the interest of justice. The three men applied for bail last week on grounds that they are innocent and that they are the sole breadwinners of their families. Morgan is 35 and married with 5 children. Dominic is 35, married with 1 child, and Shane is 30 and married with 6 children. Shane also had put to court that his last child is 9 months old and has cerebral palsy, a group of disorders that affect a person's ability to move and maintain balance and posture. They also informed court that they are being harassed whilst being in police custody. All three also provided credible guarantors of senior pastors and community leaders. Acting National Court Judge Justice Paul Tusais, in giving separate orders, said bail has been refused because police investigation into the 200 million kina cocaine bust is still ongoing. The court upheld the state submissions that with the investigation still on foot, there is a high possibility that the three applicants might interfere with state witnesses and the substantial amount of drugs and money that is still unaccounted for. It's on the interest of justice that the three are kept in custody while investigations continue. Justice Tusais told police again to stop with the harassment and advised the three men that there are options available through the Police Internal Affairs and or the Human Rights Court. Justice Tusais further ordered that the three men are at liberty to reapply for bail once all police investigations into the cocaine bust is complete. Shamin Poriambeb, National EMTV News.
Police Minister Brian Kramer, in a media release today, has supported Police Commissioner David Manning's one strike year out policy for ill discipline within the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary. Kramer said police brutality especially needed to be addressed and that more training had to be provided to officers to learn how to de-escalate potentially violent situations. The minister says strict policies and penalties against the use of force and effective command and control is needed to help prevent police violence, and that cases involving police brutality should be opened or reopened and pursued. The minister also applauded Manning's approach for training of promoted officers to ensure they are performing at the required levels in their new roles. Kramer also stating that the police commissioner has been tasked by the Marape Stephen government to address corruption and mismanagement within the RPNGC and improve policing services to the country. Lay police have apprehended a suspect and confiscated a weapon used in an armed robbery last year. Metropolitan Commander Chris Kunyanban says this is part of an ongoing investigation and was the result of joint operations by the National Crime Investigation and Sector Response Unit. Kunyanban is warning criminals to refrain from criminal activities.
Last week, Lay police received information that some Buimo prison escapees were harbored by a wanted criminal behind West Taraka. They acted on this tip-off and went into the Abium Kunai area and were dropped off here at around 3 a.m. on Tuesday and tracked for an hour. They followed this creek to the suspect's hideout.
There we surrounded the residence of the prime suspect. We searched the house, but there wasn't any escapee.
The suspect has also been implicated in the Sitokui robbery way back in December, where one of the managers to Sitokui group of companies was shot at.
CCTV footage from the incident shows the attack on the company's security manager. Several men run towards the vehicle with firearms and one smashes the window on the driver's side. A police officer who was engaged in the chase was shot at by one of the suspects. In March this year, police confiscated 5 of the weapons linked to this attack, including 5 suspects.
This is an ongoing investigation done by our members, the NSRU members. They've done a wonderful job with the assistance of the NSRU members.
After apprehending the suspect, police were brought to the location where they recovered the firearm used in the Sitokui robbery. They have also processed the apprehended suspect. Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Lae.
East New Britain's Provincial Administrator Wilson Matava has been reinstated after being sidelined for allegedly misappropriating 1 million kina, a portion of the 20 million kina tourism infrastructure grant given by the national government in 2015. In a letter written to Governor Nakus Konga and his PEC members, the Public Service Minister Sore Ewe ordered that Matava resume his duties until the formal process of his suspension is complete. Mr. Matava was sidelined earlier this month following a PEC meeting while an investigation is carried out into the allegations leveled against him. And now looking at the NASFund market report, the kina closed unchanged at $0.2870 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina is buying $0.2795 US, $0.3842 Australian dollars, $0.2274 euro, and 28.90 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading higher. Coffee, cocoa, and copper closed higher. Crude oil is trading higher. Palm oil and copper closed lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 46.85 points higher. The ASX 200 is trading at 8.42 points lower, and the All Ordinaries is trading at 0.98 points lower. More stories making headlines at home and abroad when we come back. Stay with us. You're watching Monday's News. Welcome back. Leaders in impact communities along the coast of the Huon Gulf district in Morobe want an independent assessment on the proposed deep-sea tailing disposal method by Wafu Gopu. They want mining operations to go ahead, however, want to be certain that the disposal method is suitable for the environment. These locals have suggested other alternatives besides the deep-sea tailing method. Some youths in Lae are also supporting this call through an awareness campaign. Their stance on DSTP is driven by the spillage and claims of contamination to marine life at Basamuk in Medang, which forced the Ramoniko mine to shut down. The government, on the other hand, is betting on the Wafi Gopu project to save the country's dying economy and has done awareness on DSTP through the Conservation, Environment and Promotion Authority. The company has also done awareness on the proposed method. New Sky Pacific, formerly PNG Air Services Limited, is determined to enhance safety in aviation by providing safe and seamless navigational services for aircrafts operating within and traveling through PNG's airspace. Through a series of partnerships, New Sky Limited MD Captain Ted Parkey has said operational and infrastructure improvements have been made with ambitious plans for the future of the aviation sector in PNG and the region. Captain Parkey and Civil Aviation Minister Lekwa Gure were both on hand last week to launch the official name change and rebranding. PNG's sole air navigation service provider, formerly known as the PNG Air Services Limited, is now operating under the new name New Sky Pacific Limited, or New Sky Pacific. The change of name, along with a new branding logo, in line with the advancement in modernization that the organization is undergoing. New Sky Pacific Managing Director Captain Ted Parkey excited at the prospect and the future of the program.
There's a lot of things that have happened to get this to this point, and our modernization program has delivered some of the best technologies that the world has to offer in terms of air traffic management.
The rebranding, part of the strategy in place as the company looks to enhance the safety in aviation concept by providing safe and seamless air navigation services for aircrafts operating within and through PNG airspace.
A lot of those equipments now have been, in any case, have become obsolete, like non-directional beacons and VORs. and a lot of the communication towers have been disbanded to the point where everything is now satellite-based.
Civil Aviation Minister Lekwa Gura, himself a former pilot, has also said that with the broader operational and infrastructure improvements made through their modernization program initiated in 2013, that PNG could be a leader in the region. This sentiment highlighted by Captain Parky.
That is one of the reasons or intents behind the name itself as well. So there's a lot of small Pacific Island nations that haven't got the capability or the capacity to manage their own airspace. So, but as I said, that's down the track.
Regionally, New Sky Pacific's satellite-based technology, the Automatic Dependent Surveillance Broadcast System, or ADS-B, gives PNG a superior edge over its Pacific neighbors with regards to safe and efficient air traffic management.
Definitely there is a need for greater support and funding because this entity, they provide communication, navigation and surveillance, as well as air traffic management of air traffic that fly in Papua New Guinea airspace.
Despite the ongoing funding challenges, this is seen as a step forward for Papua New Guinea. An official grant commissioning will be hosted in 2021 following full completion of New Sky Pacific's remaining activities. The Miss Pacific Islands pageant MPIP 2020 has been cancelled due to the increasing numbers of COVID-19 cases and the number of deaths recorded globally and in the Pacific region. The government of Samoa, which owns the MPIP franchise and was to be host of this year's pageant, has made this difficult decision to cancel the event. The current Miss Samoa and Miss Pacific Islands will extend her reign for another year. This is the first cancellation in the festival's 30-year history. Well, Trukai Sports is next. Don't go away because Fidelis Sukina is sporting a new haircut at the sports desk.
Thank you, Jeremy, for that compliment. We'll have more news on the weekend's NSL matches. Join me for details in Trukai Sports after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Good night and welcome to Trukai Sports. Our NSL update will be later, but first to Rugby League. The Moni Plus NCD Vipers are in the top 4 of the Digicel Cup competition at home after managing a gutsy win against local rivals, the Central Dabari, 17 points to 10.
To the man of the moment, Gibson going over there. So Vipers.
The NCDC Vipers managed to score first through star Rotamian in the 10th minute.
Amiaf is very dangerous, and there it is, the first try of the match. Amian goes over.
A successful conversion by Ase Boas saw the Vipers take a 6-0 lead. A strong run from Enoch Maki got the team's second try.
And there is going over for the Vipers' second.
A successful conversion again by Ase, taking the team's lead to 12-0. Just 10 minutes before halftime, the Dabaris replied with a try to Makara Hura.
Now, and Hura finally, he's over.
A successful conversion by Junior Bello, closing the deficit to 6 points, leaving the scores 12-6 at halftime. Just 3 minutes into the second half, Junior Gibson managed to score an unconverted try for the Dabaris.
So Gibson, the dummy and goal. He should score here, and there it is.
The score was 12-10 before Joel Key managed to get a ball out to Ben Wemin for the Vipers' third try.
Key goes right through, ball back on the inside, and there should be another try here to the Vipers. And there it is.
Wemin's try taking the Vipers' lead to 16 points to 10. Just before full-time, Ase Boas managed to get a field goal in, 20 meters out, ending the match 17 points to 10.
Really good game this afternoon. Comes back to Ase Boas for the field goal attempt.
Vipers assistant coach Joe Sipa was happy with the team's result.
Our boys really step up in that game. We prepare well for Central Dabaris. So we came strong this afternoon. Though we have some draw balls that let us down, but we came really strong for that.
The Dabaris, on the other hand, had their coach Bagelo Solian unhappy with the team's performance.
Today was a bit different story. We lost it in the first half, and didn't have the energy in the end to go finish off. But we dropped 2 balls in the first half, and that we paid dearly, and that turned out to be the end result at the end of the day. Yeah.
And Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
And welcome back to Trukai Sports. Round 13 of the Kumul Petroleum National Soccer League saw arguably the biggest loss in NSL history, with FC Bougainville humiliated in a 9-2 thrashing at the hands of a rampant Ley City. And adding further to the insult, now former coach Percy Matava hit out over what he deemed was negative influence, leading to the team's demise at the Sir Ignatius Kilage Stadium. Matava, who didn't participate in training in the lead-up to the match, claims the team taken to Ley was not his preferred lineup, but pushed through by the club's management, whom he says had placed him under pressure and now has tarnished his reputation as an OFC licensed coach. FC Bougainville has 3 wins, 2 draws, 8 losses, and Matava is the second coach to depart the side this season. Meanwhile, Hekari United on Saturday piled on points against struggling Kutubu FC. Hekari managed 7-0, with Atikepo scoring a double along with Raymond Gunemba on Saturday. Hekari United were undoubtedly the favourites coming into the fixture. Hekari, who are third on the ladder, facing the last-placed Kutubu FC. The opening minutes was more defensive for both teams, but Kutubu had the first shot at goal.
The first shot of the match coming by Henry.
Kutubu had their defense cut out for them, ganging up on Raymond Gunemba. But Hekari were passing on target, and in the 28th minute, Junior David's cross found Nigel Dabinyaba for the first goal.
Slight loss of concentration. Dabinyaba for Hekari! Dabinyaba!
Kutubu fared well in attack but could not get past the Hekari defense. It was in the 40th minute when Raymond Gunemba finally scored a classic Raymond Gunemba goal.
Raymond Gunemba!
5 minutes later, and a through ball by Atikepo, landing Gunemba his second goal.
Raymond Gunemba gets his second of the match.
The score was 3-0 at half-time. The second half saw Hekari scoring just 5 minutes in, a through ball by midfielder Wirowama, finding Atikepo for his first goal.
Atikepo for Hekari!
Kutubu tried to get close to score, but Hekari kept them away. Hekari further extended their lead with Langarap Samol, scoring off a David Muta corner kick.
Nicely. And out of the blue, Langarap Samol.
The final goal for Hekari came in the 78th minute, when Dabinyaba pushed one through for Atikepo's second goal.
6 Hekari! They do!
Ending the match 6-0 in favour of Hekari United. This also sees Hekari maintain their third position on the Kumul Petroleum National Soccer League ladder. And the team's performance was praised by team manager Voni Capinato.
Our defenders did very well, so compliment to the boys. They work very hard, they deserve the win, and we take every game one at a time, and we know that every team got different strengths, so people look forward for another game.
And that story ends Trukai Sports. Jeremy will be back with the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Bye for now.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
Weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region. Daru and Kerma mostly fine. Port Moresby and Popondetta mostly fine though cloudy. Alotau cloudy with a chance of occasional showers. Over to the Momase region inlay. Cloudy with occasional rain showers. Madang, Wewak and Vanimo cloudy with a chance of occasional rain showers. Across to the New Guinea Islands in Lorengau, cloudy with occasional rain showers and thunderstorms. Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul, Kimbe and Buka, cloudy with occasional rain showers expected. And in the Highlands region, across all centres, cloudy with possible afternoon showers. Wabeg, a high of 21 degrees. Forecast for small crafts for the next 24 hours. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait to Daru, through the Gulf of Papua to Yule Island, to Hood Point to Summer Island, and with waters of Finschhafen through Vitius Dampier Strait to Siase Long Island, seas 1.0 to 1.5 meters. Waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, seas 1.5 to 2.0 meters. Waters of Summer Island to East Cape to Cape Vogel, through Huon Gulf to Finschhafen, with waters of Long Island to Karkar Island, to Wewak to Aitape to the northern PNG Indonesian border, with waters of Manus and its western group of islands, and with waters of New Island and Bougainville, seas 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of East and West New Britain, seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Ocean forecast for PNG areas: coral seas, seas moderate to fresh with southeast winds at 15 to 25 knots. Solomon Seas, seas moderate to fresh to patches rough with southeast winds at 15 to 25 knots with gusts to 30 knots. Bismarck Seas, seas slight to moderate to patches rough with southeast winds at 10 to 20 knots, wind gusts to 25 to 30 knots. And Pacific Ocean, seas slight with southwest to westerly winds at 10 to 15 knots.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that's the way it is for Monday, the 24th of August 2020. From all of us here at EMTV, pleasant viewing, be safe, good night.